Welcome. My name is Jamie Austin, and we're here for another in a series of educational podcasts with our PSP Turnkey Solution partners. With me today is Laura Palker, CEO of Trade Show Solutions. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you, Jamie. So great to spend some time with you today.
It is, and you are looking well. I love it that you're in your office. There's a plant, there's a window. It makes us feel like we're pre-COVID.
100%. We're getting ready
Absolutely.
for a wonderful new year.
Absolutely. And I guess that's the irony of that question is pre-COVID is your trade show solutions. Before I ask you my first question, I came up with another one, and that is, how are things today as compared to pre-COVID and then during COVID?
So this will be a long recovery. Right now, we are really working on workforce development and encouraging, welcoming new people to the industry on the show floor. All of us are turning into mentors so that we can help rebuild the skill levels that we need. And I am so excited to say that we really have some amazing young people and some people who are reentering the workforce joining us. And they're excited, they're enthusiastic, they're great team players, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's a good day.
Wow, that is such great news to hear. And as you and I have talked many times, that travel and trade shows is a leading indicator. We're the first out on a downturn, and we're the first back in on an upturn. So that is great news, everybody, that if trade shows are coming back and business is good there, that's a good sign for everybody else. And I want to hold off on that talk about the young people. Let's make sure we get back to that later on. But let's talk about trade shows. And a silly question is, it's in your name, you do trade shows. So therefore, I'm assuming you make trade show booths.
Absolutely. For more than 30 years, we've been working with companies big and small to provide them with the architectural and graphic solutions that they need to qualify buyers on the show floor and to fill their pipelines.
I love it. I love it. So tell me, what's the largest booth you've ever made?
I was fortunate in my career to work when I worked for display presentations to be involved with producing CA World, and it was actually an entire show.
Wow.
So we brought our graphics department right on the show floor, and we did the user conference with them. One of the largest clients as well. In that capacity, the company produced 250 shows a year for CA, and they were right on Long Island, so it was really exciting.
Oh, those were the days back when big business was here on Long Island. You do big and you do small, right?
So the lifeblood of our business is actually with small exhibitors, and the impetus for jumping in big is maybe just a myth. We try and work with companies in a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 20 space so that they can get their footing on the trade show floor, become known in the community in which their show is being produced, and to really get a return on investment. It's a step-by-step process. And believe it or not, right here on Long Island, we had 100-year-old company, and they only did regional shows. So we actually designed an exhibit for them that was a branded table throw and a tabletop exhibit. But the way that we designed it, we carried the graphic elements all from top to bottom, and they looked like they had a 10 by 10 exhibit. But it was so easy, they could just roll it up and put it in a small case and bring it in their car wherever they needed to go. So it's more about building the right tool for the job, and for helping the customer to get a return on investment, and to help them to get the visuals that they need to grow more market share.
I like that you say that you're building the booth that matches the company and their needs. Talk about that for a second. Take me through the process from beginning to end of how you would develop a trade show booth for somebody.
So when anyone asks us about participating in a trade show, the first thing we want to ask them is, what is your booth number? What show are you going to, and what is your booth number? And that indicates to us that they've got skin in the game and that they have picked a space. So, and for us, everything starts with the floor plan. So we want to, location, 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 that applies on the trade show floor as well. So when we meet with them, we actually do a working meeting. Our very first meeting, we introduce ourselves, we establish our credibility, we earn the opportunity to sit down with a person, and we actually roll up our sleeves and get to work. And we want to first talk about what's their business growth plan. What are they planning to accomplish in the next year, 2 years, 3 years? What's their budget? What are they, does it make sense for them to do one show, or should they be in 3 shows with different vertical markets? So we really want to understand the direction that their company is going in. And funny story is, I actually met a gentleman who had invented the most amazing pet toy I had ever seen in my life. And of course, my mind thinks big. And I could see it in every pet store across the country, online. You could get it around the world. And so my design was something that would produce those kind of results. And I didn't ask the key question: how old is your business? What's your production capacity? Can you handle the growth? And obviously, the answer to that question, or maybe not so obvious, was no, we're just looking for a couple of boutique pet shops to carry our product. And my answer to them was truly, then you shouldn't be on the trade show floor. Go and visit those boutique owners, sell your product. It's got legs and they'll buy it. You don't need to spend $20,000. And that's really what the budgets are by the time you talk about staffing, your booth space, your booth design, whether you rent or you buy, your graphics, your food, your hotel, your travel arrangements. It's more than the booth is just a tiny little part of that expense. So, we really want to, that was a good learning lesson for me. It's not what I think I can do with the products in the market. It's what the company can do in the market. And then we match the tool that they need to accomplish their goals.
Absolutely fascinating. I mean, the idea that you learned to ask, what's your production goal? What's your production capacity, and what's your goal? All of those things drive what you build for them, and what they should do and how they should do it. But you've talked about it. It's not just the physical booth; it's all of the elements around it. Take me through that piece of it, and that is, let's say I do spend $20,000 and I build a nice size booth, and I'm planning on going to 5 trade shows around the country during the year. How do I do that? How do I accomplish that?
So oftentimes, we encourage our customers to hire us as trade show coordinators. And we really are an outsourced part of the team, the marketing team, working with administrative people, because each business owner, each marketing person is very skilled and knowledgeable at the job that they do. However, they may not necessarily have the skills and the knowledge of what happens on the show floor. So we work with clients to do their electrical floor plans, be able to identify how much power they need, look at whether they should be buying a carpet, renting a carpet? Do they need padding? Identifying if it's better to rent the furniture on the show floor or buy their own and ship it with their booth. Being able to calculate and understand the various different languages that are used on the floor with terms like drayage, material handling, understanding the difference between pounds and hundredweight. All of these very specific terms that affect transportation to the show, the different unions that are responsible for various different actions on the show floor. And I know that many people have, had an uncomfortable experience with a union person, but there really is a purpose for them. We are a construction site. We build cities in 2 or 3 days on a show floor, on an empty concrete floor, and move in freight, set it up, take it down, and then move it out in a day. So it is a place where we need highly skilled individuals. And the unions have unbelievable training facilities all across the country where their workforce is trained not only in business acumen of the importance of being there and being reliable, being on time. There's a huge effort right now in training customer service with our union team members. So it is a collaborative effort to create the environment that is going to produce tremendous results for each exhibitor and each participant, and create a welcoming and safe environment for attendees.
But
Repeat impressions, and look at the amount of assets that you can collect on the show floor. I mean, you literally can do a year's worth of work in the 2 or 3 days on a show floor if it's planned properly in that the pre-show planning, sending out direct mail, email, setting up appointments with the media, getting yourself an article in a trade publication at the show floor, running focus groups, doing team member training, maximizing that time that you have on the show floor away from the building in a different environment, building culture, developing, team building exercises, rewarding, the biggest clients, entertaining them in spaces where they wouldn't normally go. And the list goes on where we can help our clients to really get more bang for the buck so that they can lay the groundwork for a year's worth of work and fill that pipeline so that their sales teams can convert.
you got me thinking. I want to compare it to shooting fish in a barrel. The idea being, or advertising a sports product in a sports magazine. You've got an interested audience. It's not like advertising in the New York Times, which goes out to everybody. It's going into the sports magazine, which goes to sports lovers. A trade show is your entree into your targeted audience. And how else could you meet tens or hundreds or thousands of potential clients all in one shot in 1, 2, or 3 days, other than a trade show? So that if you do it right, what it does is, it doesn't mean you make the sale. And I want to, you talk about that for a second. You don't have to make the sale, but if you make all of those introductions, and now you have all those opportunities, and you've presented yourself to so many potential clients, potential buyers. Is that really what the message is? Is that what the goal of the trade show is? That introduction to the opportunities?
You have 3 reasons to be in a trade show. Every single action can be categorized in 3 different ways: building brand, generating leads, and converting, making sales. And you're typically not going to make a sale on a trade show floor if it's not a buying show. What you are selling is, you're selling your brand, you're building trust, you're making sure that when you take your lead, that you have a little code word that that person knows, so that after the show, they know that you are a meaningful contact and they will take your call. And that's when the relationship building starts. So your show floor experience is with the prospect in building trust, building credibility, letting them know that you have solutions for their problems. And also, there's a huge opportunity to build more partnerships with the other exhibitors on the show floor, as well as reinforcing and reconfirming your importance to your existing customers.
And that's another thing you're talking about, is entertaining your clients. That's such a valuable thing, because if you go, if you don't go to the trade show and your competitors do, guess what? They've just got an introduction to your client, just like you were getting introductions to all these strangers. They are, and now they have an opportunity to highlight themselves to your clients. So there's a value in, again, it's not the trade show booth, it's all the activity around it, so that if you've got clients there, you want to entertain them, and then, make sure that you're taking good care of them so that they don't find somebody else.
Right.
Circle around on that one again. The message of the purpose of the trade show booth and your branding of it.
So I'm going to speak to that with also a little story. One time in my career, we had a company that wanted to go into the houseware show, and the houseware show was the largest show in Chicago. And people from all over the world exhibited and attended that show. We had a company from Israel come in, and they were like the Westinghouse of Israel. And late in the game, there was no space available with the exception of one small 10 by 10 booth. And we created, first they were like, how could we dare to go in a 10 by 10 booth the size of our company? I said, well, it's important for you to be there. So we created a 10 by 10 exhibit, and we put it against the wall so we could go 12 feet high. And we built a header on top of the booth that said, small booth, big message. And we were able to create a campaign that attracted individuals and allowed them to get through the show, and right after the show to get their booth space for the following year. So, it's not something you want to wait on. If you do want to go to a show, you want to start your planning a year in advance. You want to get on the waiting line. Many shows have priority points, so they're loyal to their existing exhibitors and they get to select space first. However, with an experienced individual to work by your side as a partner, there's ways to get you into good locations and to be able to beat the clock, so to speak, to make sure your location is going to be to your advantage. On the topic of branding, how many times have you gone to a show and seen somebody with a wrinkly banner and a 4-foot high table in front of them and no carpet on the floor, and you wonder, how does that person think that anyone is going to do business with them? Mm-hmm. You have to take a picture of your booth once it's set up and look at it and see, is this the way I want to represent myself? And then you want to look at, how am I going to engage people? And all of that should be with a focus on reinforcing your brand. So there is a science to color. There's a science to how tall your letters should be. There is a science to what the activity in the booth should be. How are you going to get somebody interested in pausing more than 6 seconds so that you can engage in a conversation? And then lastly, there is a science to movement, using video in the booth, using an educational tool in the booth, being a speaker, being a presenter, having a photographer. Everybody loves the paparazzi, even on the trade show floor.
Wow. I say this to you all the time. Every time I listen to you, I learn something new. Sometimes I learn lots of new. And this is just, it's like such an eye opener to what the opportunities exist in dealing with trade shows. And the reason why I say that is because you're not just a trade show, not just a trade show person. Um, I heard you wrote a book recently. Can you tell me about that?
Yes. So during the pandemic, it was really, I saw how many people were, I think all of us actually, but I won't use such a broad term, were stunned and really taken aback at who could have ever imagined in our lifetime that the world would stop. And I started to see that it was a little bit overwhelming for some business owners. And I'm very thankful for the chance to be in the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program, because that really gave me the knowledge and the fortitude to be able to make it through this and still be in business. However, I saw that there were so many of my colleagues, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small business owners that were reinventing, trying to figure out and reimagine their business and how could they still stay in business. And I started to think about the subject matter experts that were in my circle of influence. And I called up 11 of them and I said, please, I want you to write a chapter and let's put a collective together that will cover all of the elements of business: sales, marketing, human resources, finance, sales. And we want to create a book that will help to show the small business owner they're not by themselves, and that we can give them some practical action items that can help them create the space to reimagine, rebuild, and reinvent a profitable business. And we are published, available worldwide now. And the authors will come together for a conference called Thrive, May 9th. And we're so excited to be able to give our knowledge, our expertise to help businesses find a way forward that's meaningful and profitable for them in 2023.
That is most admirable of you. Like, again, it's just another reflection of the good you do, how you help companies, whether it's their trade shows or their businesses, in staying alive, staying around. Knowing how COVID impacted your industry and how it brought it to a screeching halt and a slow recovery. It's a testament to your skills and survival that you're still here and growing again. So kudos to you on all of that. Well, I thank you. And is there any last thoughts, departing words, words of advice to anybody from the standpoint of if you're interested in entering the trade show arena, do you have any last words of advice for them?
One of the things that we didn't have early on was digital marketing and social media. And when you are ready to go to the show, make sure you build your assets, and you can exponentially expand your reach with those tools. So when you're thinking about your booth graphics, have them resized and purposed for your social media posts. And you can definitely expand your reach. We had one client that we did a virtual show for, and we were able to get them a sponsor, a local New York, Long Island organization. We were able to get them a premium sponsor from again, Israel. I have a lot of connections in Israel. But they wanted to open their business in the New York market, and they sponsored the show and have become a partner for the long haul. And so the world is your oyster. You know, dream big, dream big.
And if there's anything that I could tell you about Laura, it is she thinks big. She said that in the beginning, and it's so true. She thinks big and she can take you places. Well, I thank you, Laura, for that. It was very interesting. And I think, again, the message to the rest of the world is it's not just a trade show booth. It's a whole experience. It's everything. So when you are entering that arena, think about inviting an expert in to help you. Think about Laura Palker for that. So again, thank you, Laura. We appreciate your expressing and sharing your knowledge with us. We hope to catch up with you again soon.
Thank you, Jamie. I really appreciate the opportunity.
And for the rest of you, if you are interested in meeting Laura or anything else with us at PSP Turnkey Solutions, reach out to me. It's 631-241-3958. I feel like a progressive commercial, giving up my number, or Jamie at PSP Turnkey Solutions, or of course, visit our website at www.psp-turnkey-solutions. With that, again, thank you, Laura, and wish everybody a happy day.
Happy day.